The first-person shooter genre is extremely popular and easily one of the most successful styles of games in the modern gaming world. But not all first-person shooters are worth your time or your money. In fact, there are plenty that you should probably avoid altogether if you have any respect for that time and money. What is up, guys? Jimmy or Chaos, welcome to Chaos Top 10s, and today we're going to be doing you a favor. We're going to be counting down 10 first-person shooter games that no one should play. No one should pay or play. So let's get started, and if you have some in your mind that you think will be on this list, let me know in the comment section. This month's giveaway is for a new PlayStation 4 console. All you have to do to enter is drop a like on this video, be subscribed to the channel, and turn on your notifications so you never miss an upload. And in the comment section, let me know why you want to win the PS4 and include your Twitter handle so I can contact you if you're the winner. The winner will be announced at the end of the month. Kicking off our list today at number 10 is Rogue Warrior. This is a game that really should have been badass, but it ended up being a disaster. This title was developed by Rebellion and published by the legendary Bethesda themselves, and it even starred Hollywood legend Mickey Rourke as the main character, who was a Navy SEAL sent to North Korea for a secret mission to disrupt a series of missile launches. The problems with the game mainly stem from the fact that it was delayed multiple times and development actually shifted from studio to studio, which is almost always a bad sign for a video game. When it finally did hit the shelves, Rogue Warrior was panned by critics for the bland visuals, the boring style, and the level design, and the bad voice acting, and the main character swearing every 5 seconds for no reason, in a very, very shallow attempt to make him seem cool. You're probably going to want to avoid this one. At number 9, we have a game called Redneck Rampage. Released all the way back for the PC in 1997, R&R was developed by Atrix Entertainment, was supposed to be a parody of first-person shooters as well as Southern American life. What resulted, however, was a very unfunny FPS that actually fell into a lot of the cliches that it was attempting to make fun of. At that time, the game actually got somewhat decent reviews for its comedy and energy, but after revisiting it today, most people agree that it's one of the worst shooters that's ever hit the shelves. And it's energetic, and there are some decent jokes from here to there, but the visuals are terrible. The gameplay is very clunky, and the level design is very generic. The whole thing is so over the top and in your face that the humor gets pretty annoying pretty quickly. At number 8, we have Land of the Dead: Road to Fiddler's Green. This is a game that should have been awesome. George A. Romero has made tons and tons of awesome zombie movies over the years, and in 2005 he gave us Land of the Dead, one of his best. Along with the movie, we got a tie-in game called Land of the Dead: Road to Fiddler's Green, which served as a prequel to the actual film. A video game based on Romero's zombie-filled universe should have been great, but unfortunately, it was a complete disaster. To be fair, this game came out before zombie games like Left 4 Dead and Dying Light really mastered the first-person zombie genre, so Land of the Dead didn't really have much of a roadmap to work off of, but that's still not an excuse. The graphics were very muddy, the zombies were very uninteresting, and the guns weren't very fun to use. The game just wasn't exciting or horrific in any way. Now, if you want a good zombie shooter game, look at Left 4 Dead, or maybe even the House of the Dead if you want something a little more fast-paced, but stay far, far away from Land of the Dead: Road to Fiddler's Green. At number 7, we have a game called Terra Wars: New York Invasion. Okay, let's play a game here, okay? You guys are going to play with me. Take a look at the gameplay on the screen right now and tell me what you think of this game, okay? I'll give you a few seconds to think it over. This game actually came out in 2006, and believe it or not, the developers put extensive time and money into trying to make it so photorealistic to the real-world New York City. But the awful graphics were just the tip of the iceberg for this game. Just about everything is wrong with Terra Wars: New York Invasion. The graphics and the sound design are extremely amateurish and seemed rushed despite the fact they weren't. And the gameplay is so repetitive and bland that it causes the visuals and the audio to be put on display even more for you. It's no surprise that the developers haven't made any other noteworthy games since this sad attempt of an FPS. At number 6, we have Sniper Ghost Warrior 3, and if you're a fan of the Zero Punctuation series on YouTube, you're probably familiar with this game, as they named it the #1 worst game of 2017. The Sniper Ghost Warrior series is one that I really can't understand because none of the games are that great, but the franchise has been going since 2008 as if nothing is wrong. Ghost Warrior 3 is the most recent entry in the series, and it really is just a showing off of all the previous games and adding some new problems into the mix. It is a tactical FPS set in an open world environment to help things feel a little less linear, but it didn't really help things because the world, it's pretty bland and lifeless. Then when you get into the standard missions, you'll experience bland, glitchy gunplay and ugly, uninspired environments. And if you want a good tactical FPS or a good sniper game, Ghost Warrior 3 definitely isn't that. I want to know in the comment section, what is your favorite sniper game? Cracking into the top 5, you've probably heard this one on some past Chaos Top 10s. Daikatana. Daikatana was an ambitious project led by John Romero, one of the masterminds behind Doom and Quake. Romero was famously egotistical about the project, boasting that it would be the greatest FPS of all time, that it would blow people away and make you his bitch. Seriously, that is what the promo poster said. But after tons of delays and countless instances of Romero pushing his team and his technology too far, the game was released broken, unfun, and just bad. The concept was very ambitious and pretty interesting, as it would have you playing with a squad of NPC teammates as you ventured through different time periods to use different weaponry and do battle with tons of different types of enemies. But the end product was awful. The NPCs were so poorly programmed that the whole game was basically, you were really just a babysitting simulator with some shooting galleries thrown in, and the shooting sections weren't even fun due to the horrible gunplay, lame enemy types, and seemingly random handling of the traits of the weapons themselves. At number 4, we have a game called Extreme Paintball, and I've found that whenever you put the word extreme in a video game title, it usually ends up being bad. This paintball game was developed by a studio called Creative Carnage, which is a pretty appropriate title considering what they do to people with their games. Extreme Paintball was released on Halloween of 1998 and was built on a modified version of the Duke Nukem 3D engine, which was considered outdated at that time. Upon the release, the game was ripped apart by critics and gamers alike for a multitude of reasons. Aside from the outdated engine causing problems with the visuals and the gameplay, Extreme Paintball suffered from a lack of game modes. It had horrible map design that didn't even look like paintball fields at all, and a bad soundtrack to boot, and a practice mode that didn't work properly due to the lack of enemies, meaning that you just got to walk around aimlessly around the maps with no opposition. That was your practice. Plus, even when there was an enemy AI in play, it was so poorly programmed that they would constantly stand still and get stuck in doorways, all while lasering you from across the map. Sounds like fun, right? Save your money. At number 3, we have a game called Battleship. Who remembers the Battleship movie from 2012? Following the success of the Transformers movies, other companies wanted in on the action of the over-the-top movies based on toys. So we got Battleship. But we didn't just get a movie, we also got a video game, and since the video game industry is full of really smart people, it was a first-person shooter. That's right, this is a first-person shooter based on an over-the-top action movie that's based on a board game. You do the math. In the game, you played as a soldier trying to fend off an alien invasion while occasionally taking control of a battleship in order to justify the game's title. Battleship was hammered by critics and gamers upon release for just about everything. The graphics were bad, every mission was literally the exact same, and the enemy AI was awful. On top of that, the voice acting was horrible, the battleship segments were stupid, and there were only a handful of guns for you to use. And remember, it's an FPS. The whole thing was 4 hours long with no additional modes, so you were paying $60 for 4 hours of mediocre FPS gameplay. Now, movie tie-in games have had a pretty dead concept for a while now, and Battleship just served to drive that final nail into the coffin. At number 2, we have Turning Point Fall of Victory. Coming in at the number 2 spot today is the 2008 alternate history shooter developed by Spark Unlimited and published by Codemasters. This game had an interesting story in which Winston Churchill passed away before the beginning of World War II, resulting in a radically different outcome in which the UK gets taken over by the regime and the war continues for years and years to come. The player takes control of an American soldier in the year 1953, where the regime finally starts invading the US. The concept is cool, I'll give it that, but that's really the only thing it had going for it. The gameplay was extremely old school in a bad way, to the point that everything about it felt outdated and left behind compared to other shooters on the market. The level design was also very linear and very uninteresting, and the story didn't really do anything interesting with its unique concept. The whole thing just feels like one giant missed opportunity that could have been really cool. And finally, and I know this game has made so many number ones on so many freaking lists that we've done, but what do? Duke Nukem Forever. I'm sure plenty of you expected it. I've said it a ton of times before on this series, and I'm going to keep saying it into the future. This game is awful. After a lengthy 15-year development cycle, Gearbox popped this thing out to awful reviews from just about everybody who played it. You played as Duke, of course. as he once again tried to defend the Earth from aliens, all while acting like a tough guy and spitting out those one-liners. The problem was that everything about the game was wrong. The graphics were wrong, the physics were wrong, the jokes were unfunny and tasteless, and the gunplay, the most important thing, was lackluster. The boss fights were terrible, the level design was so amateur. It's just hard to believe that this game was in development for 15 years. Don't play the game. I know that a lot of you probably heard a lot of bad things about Duke Nukem Forever, and guess what? You're probably thinking there's no way it's actually that bad. Let me tell you, it is. Trust me, it is that bad. And there you have it, my friends. Those are 10 first-person shooters that no one should ever play, and definitely don't pay. You guys let me know some that should have made this list. As always, there's a playlist below with all the other video game top 10s from the channel. Hope you guys are enjoying the content. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe on your way out, and I will see you very soon.